What's up, guys? Part-time Gamer Dad here, and today I'm going to give you my predictions for WrestleMania 40, how I think each currently announced match will play out. Granted, there could still be some matches added. There's still some participants we're waiting to see qualify for matches like the six-pack ladder match for the tag team titles. But for where we are right now, 2 weeks before WrestleMania, I'm going to give you my way too early predictions. Let's get into it. So we're going to start with the triple threat match for the United States Championship between Logan Paul, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens. I think this one actually is pretty easy to call. I think Logan Paul retains, and I think that's kind of why this triple threat element is involved. And I mentioned this in my video where I talked about if we made all the WrestleMania matches currently booked into multi-man matches, I think LA Knight's the one who's going to take that title off of Logan Paul, and I think that's going to happen at SummerSlam in Cleveland, as announced on the Impulsive show. So I have Logan Paul retaining here. I think what it'll be a situation where Owens and Orton are just fighting amongst themselves after an inevitable point of realizing that there's 3 guys in the match, not just 2, and they can't both just beat up on Logan Paul the whole time. And then Logan Paul will take advantage, and he will retain the championship, setting up that eventual LA Knight title win down the road. Speaking of LA Knight, yeah, he is for sure going to beat AJ Styles. I love AJ. AJ is my second favorite wrestler of all time. I feel like I talk about that almost every single video we talk about AJ Styles in. But LA Knight is on a meteoric rise that has kind of slowed down over the last few months since he had that matchup with Roman in Saudi Arabia, and then obviously the Royal Rumble 4-way. He wasn't involved in the Royal Rumble match. And now he's also been involved in the Elimination Chamber, which obviously AJ cost him. I think this match is actually a little underappreciated for the build. The fact that AJ Styles flew to Australia just to screw LA Knight out of the Elimination Chamber match. And I think that LA Knight's going to walk away with the win. I think they see a lot of upside in him, and I think this is, like I said, building to LA Knight versus Logan Paul. So really easy pick for me here. LA Knight takes the W, and AJ will continue to go on a tear, I think, as kind of this lone wolf character, reminiscent of what he did towards the end of his TNA career, but I don't see him winning at Mania this year. Kind of sticking with the ones that I feel are easy to call, and not to say they're 100% lock, but I really do feel like Bayley is going to beat Io for the Women's Championship. I really feel like the story has all been leading up to Bayley getting kicked out of Damage Control after she won the Royal Rumble, which I predicted. And now I think the story is Bayley finally gets her WrestleMania moment by defeating her former best friend in Io Sky, taking the Women's Championship away from her. Obviously, there will probably be some kind of Women's Tag Team Championship match at WrestleMania. I think probably the Kabuki Warriors retained from that, unless there's some kind of Maxine Dupree element that gets built in the storyline based on what we've been seeing with her and Candice LeRae on Raw. But regardless of what happens with the Kabuki Warriors and Damage Control, I see Bayley walking out of WrestleMania with that women's title around her waist, and then we build to her versus Naomi in like this friendly kind of competition. Or we finally see the long-awaited, long-wanted heel turn of Bianca Belair, and then that program with Bayley as the face, Bianca as the heel, or maybe even Jade Cargill, which I think it's a little early for her because I see Bayley's title reign going on for a while. But that would mean that Jade, who I don't see losing for a long time, wouldn't be an opponent with her unless there was a Schmaz. So all that said, Bayley takes the Women's Championship at WrestleMania. While we're at it, talking about the women's belts, let's go ahead and talk about the Women's World Championship. Rhea Ripley defending her title after holding it for a whole year against Becky Lynch. And I would love to sit here and say they've done a great job in terms of keeping these two away from each other, and I'm very excited for this match because I am. But I do feel like I need to see a little bit more build to this. I think part of what the build has been is, don't you guys want to see this match? And we've anticipated it. I mean, you could see this coming from a year out. Once she won the title, like, I think we all felt like her versus Becky was a really good chance of happening. But I see Rhea retaining. Rhea is like the star of Monday Night Raw outside of Cody Rhodes. And I think that, and maybe Drew McIntyre at this point, but for the last year, consistently, Rhea Ripley has been the focal point of Monday Night Raw alongside the Judgment Day and kind of been the leader, even if all of these other guys in the group believe they're the leader. Rhea Ripley is the leader. And that ovation for her at Elimination Chamber should tell you everything you need to know. She is their future. She's still in her like mid-20s, and I think she has a real chance to beat Becky clean, which I think then takes her on to possibly a whole nother year. And then we see Bianca versus Rhea, or we see Jade Cargill be the one to take the title off of Rhea, because I just don't see it being Becky. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll be happy to be proven wrong. But I think Rhea's still got a lot of gas left in the tank for this title run in particular, and can build her up as, in theory, the greatest women's champion of all time if she can keep this reign going. So I have got Rhea Ripley to retain. Let's go ahead and talk about the Night 1 main event, because some of the things that are happening, I think, in the Night 1 main event impact a lot of the matches that happen on Night 2. So on the Night 1 main event, I see The Rock and Roman Reigns defeating Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins. And I see Seth taking the pin. I see there being interference from Solo and Jimmy, and Jay tries to counteract that, but he can't. And then we see the Bloodline win, setting all of the odds stacked against Cody Rhodes for the Night 2 main event. Now, The Rock has also been saying that he doesn't want Seth Rollins to walk out as world champ. So I do think that's going to be part of the storyline for Night 2. But on Night 1, I think we might see the Bloodline win and The Rock pick up the win over Seth, maybe over Cody. Like, it would be a huge, crazy story if Rock pinned Cody, and then on Night 2, Cody beat Roman, because then the whole story is The Rock is better than Roman, right? Which could lead to an eventual Roman versus Rock matchup at the final boss versus the head of the table. But I think overall, regardless of how we get there, I see the Bloodline winning against Cody and Seth on Night 1 main event. And then, like I said, stacking all the odds against Cody on Night 1 or Night 2 main event for the title. And I think that will actually make it a better matchup when we get there on Night 2. Okay, so coming out of that, we have the World Heavyweight Championship match between Seth freaking Rollins defending against Drew McIntyre. Obviously, the original plan for this was Rollins versus Punk. Punk got hurt. Drew McIntyre took all of that credit for it, and he's been doing some of his best work in his career as a heel, and kind of disparaging CM Punk. And I think we see Drew McIntyre defeat Seth Rollins for the title at WrestleMania. I think it finally happens. I think that Drew's going to stay with WWE. I think that they have done a lot of things to build that goodwill with him again. And I see this being a great match. I see it as probably the opener for WrestleMania Night 2, to give Seth some time to think about some things. And I see Drew McIntyre probably going on a tear and holding that title for a long time, because the story has built him up as kind of this world beater, even if sometimes he needs a little bit of help that he may not have asked for. So all that being said, Drew McIntyre, this is probably one of my most confident picks as well, is Drew McIntyre walking out of WrestleMania Night 2 with that World Heavyweight Championship. And then we have Punk versus Drew McIntyre down the road. Punk might beat Drew McIntyre to set up Rollins versus Punk at next year's WrestleMania, where I think by that point we have a heel Rollins versus a face Punk, which honestly I think would be kind of money. All right, let's talk about that six-pack ladder match for the WWE Tag Team Championships. I know we still have a few teams that need to get ironed out for this matchup, but I see this match being won by The Miz and R-Truth, quite honestly. Even before they were announced for this match, even before there was a match announced for the tag team titles, and it being a ladder match, I thought that the match at WrestleMania was going to be Finn Balor and Damian Priest of the Judgment Day versus The Miz and R-Truth, the Awesome Truth. This tag team from 2011 reunited as baby faces this time around. The Miz is really working for me as a babyface because of R-Truth. And because the Judgment Day are such a good group, especially as these devious, despicable heels, and how they've been treating R-Truth, and The Miz is trying to be there as a friend. Obviously, the hilarious things with DXIY, with Ciampa and Gargano being confused for Triple H and Shawn Michaels by R-Truth. And I just see this being an awesome moment where Priest and Truth both climb the ladder, and Truth does it, and he pulls it off, and he wins the tag team titles. Obviously, there's also the route, and I really love this idea, that one team pulls down the Raw tag team belts and one team pulls down the SmackDown tag team belts. That's not been explicitly stated in the rules, like a match from WrestleMania 2000 where it was Angle, Benoit, Jericho, 2 out of 3 falls for the IC belt and then the European belt. So I'm not going to go with that assumption. I'm just going to say who wins this match. And whether it's both tag team titles or one set of titles, I see the Awesome Truth walking out as the new champs. All right, Jay versus Jimmy. Another match I think is going to take place on night 2 because I think they'll both be involved in that main event on night 1. I think it's really easy to say that Jay would win. I really think Jimmy has a shot at it. I'm going to go with the safe bet, say Jay, but this is one of my least confident picks. I could absolutely see Solo interfering or a new member of the Bloodline interfering and costing Jay the match and kind of giving Jimmy that upset victory. But I think Jay's on such a roll. He's been so great in his singles run. The crowd is really behind him, and I really feel that we will see main event Jey Uso pick up the win. I'm just not terribly confident of it because there's always that 1 or 2 matches at WrestleMania, typically, where they catch you off guard and the thing that you think wasn't going to happen does happen. And nowadays it's a lot harder for some of these big, amazing PLEs like a WrestleMania to predict everything correctly. Elimination Chamber was kind of one of those where we knew where the status quo was. Nothing was going to diverge from that. This one, especially Jay versus Jimmy with nothing on the line and the story that's been building up, it could go either way. For now, I'm going to pick Jay. For the Intercontinental Championship, we have Sami Zayn versus Gunther. Now, I talked about this matchup in this video, so go check out this video because it didn't get any views. It got like 6 views, and I'm not all about the views, but I think I made some good points, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. I'm not excited for this match. This match still could change to a triple threat between Zayn, Gunther, and Gable. I think it should. I think it would be a great opportunity for that to just create even a better match. I don't think we're going to get there, though. I think it's going to be Zayn and Gunther. I got Gunther retaining. I just don't see Sami Zayn being the one to beat him. And I think that if anybody's going to beat him, it's got to be Gable or Sheamus. Honestly, if Sheamus came back and was the one to take it off him, I'd be happy with that too. But I just don't see Sami Zayn being that guy. I think Sami Zayn's story needs to go towards the world title. Maybe after WrestleMania, the first program with Drew McIntyre is Sami Zayn. And Sami Zayn being the one to go after that world championship. Very similar to like how AJ Styles lost at WrestleMania 32. And then the next night, he won the number 1 contendership to wrestle for the WWE title against Roman Reigns. I think that might be a similar story arc that we go on with Sami Zayn. But regardless of where it goes after WrestleMania, at the end of WrestleMania, Gunther is still your IC champ. And with all that being said, I think that leaves us with one more match. And that match is Cody Rhodes challenging Roman Reigns for the WWE Championship in the main event of Night 2 WrestleMania 40. 1 year on from the disappointing ending to WrestleMania 39 Night 2. Roman Reigns is feeling weird in this program between him, Rock, Seth Rollins, and Cody Rhodes. And I think a big part of that is because he's not what I would feel like is the featured player in this feud. It's The Rock and Cody. Because then you have Seth and Drew doing their own thing over here. And then and Roman's kind of like on his own little island of relevancy. But that's making it less impactful, I think, this time around. I think with the Night 1 main event, we get a lot of that back. And Triple H is great at building a lot of intrigue and excitement around these matches. So I think he'll do some things in these next couple of weeks to help bring Roman into being the primary featured attraction of the Bloodline and taking The Rock a little bit back. But The Rock's incredibly entertaining, and the Rock concert and the 2003 Hollywood theme coming back and all of those things, like, it is really definitely impacting positively for the product, getting people excited about WrestleMania at the detriment of Roman Reigns feeling like the third wheel in his own match, a la like 13 years ago with Cena versus Miz and then The Rock as being the antagonist to John Cena. It's not to the same degree, but it's just feeling that way a little bit. All that being said, I really hope that The Rock and Roman Reigns win Night 1, because then I think it makes a better story for all of the odds to be stacked against Cody Rhodes. All of his friends come out, even people who aren't associated with him right now, maybe people like Stone Cold Steve Austin, and they come out and they help Cody Rhodes neutralize the Bloodline so that he can finally finish his freaking story and win the WWE Championship. I said it last year. I'm Team Rhodes. I am. You want to call me a Cody crybaby? Sure, I'm a Cody crybaby. I'm not crying about anything, but I don't know what else we want to call us. And I'm totally backing him on this one. So Cody Rhodes to win the WWE Championship. And then I think eventually we're going to have Cody versus Seth again for the WWE Championship, because I think Seth is going to be pissed that he helped Cody finish his story, but Cody didn't help him finish his against Drew McIntyre, which I think will be a great place to go after Seth takes some time off. I think he deserves some time off, come back, turn on Cody, and then we have a great story from there. So, hey guys, let me know what you think about my predictions that are probably way too early, 2 weeks ahead of the show. I'm going to do it one more time. Once we have more of the matches fleshed out, I'll probably do it like 2 days before WrestleMania, just to give you guys a little time to watch it, digest, see what you think. But if you could like this video, if you're not subscribed to the channel, if you like wrestling, or if you like video games, or if you like both those things, make sure you sub to the channel. We're always doing new content all the time, trying to release more frequent, long-form content like this. I can't keep up with Santi. Sorry, Santi, you're amazing. I can't keep up with daily uploads, but one day I hope to be like that. And then the other thing is, if you guys can just comment down below your picks for WrestleMania 40, and let's just start talking about it. Thank you guys so much. I will see you very soon.